All right, today we're going to talk about something that pretty much all of us know, maybe a little too well, anxiety. Look, the goal here isn't to make it disappear forever. That's not realistic. The goal is to understand it, to get to know it, so that when it shows up, you have the tools to manage it. So let's dive in. You know the feeling, right? You get a one-line email from your boss that just says, "We need to talk." And bam, instantly, your palms are sweaty, your heart is just hammering in your chest, and you've got that hollow, kind of freaked out feeling in your stomach. That's anxiety, and in that moment, it can feel like it's taking over everything. But here's the thing you've got to know. You are so far from the only one feeling this.
Get this, 1 out of every 14 people on this entire planet has an anxiety disorder. That's a huge number. So even though it can feel incredibly lonely when you're in it, you are definitely not alone. What you're feeling is real, it's valid, and the best part is, there are real things you can do about it.
So, what is anxiety, really? Well, think of it like this. Your brain has this ancient, super powerful survival system built right in. It's the alarm that's supposed to go off when you see, a saber-toothed tiger. The problem is, in our modern world, that alarm system has gotten, well, a little jumpy. It's like the volume is cranked up to 11 and it's going off for things like traffic jams and Teams messages, not just tigers. It's not a weakness. It's a very powerful feature of being human that's just a little out of whack with the world we live in now. So in this explainer, we're going to build a toolkit, a really practical one. First, we're going to tackle the mind, how to reframe those anxious thoughts. Then we'll get into the body, quick techniques to calm your system down, like right now. After that, we'll zoom out and look at daily habits that build long-term resilience. And finally, we'll chart your path forward. Okay, let's start with the mind, because this is where the whole story of anxiety usually begins. The physical feelings, the racing heart, the tight chest, they're obviously very real, but it's the story our brain tells us about those feelings that can send us spinning. The great news, we can actually learn to tell a different story. Okay, this insight from Mel Robbins is a total game changer. She says that the physical feelings we call fear, the racing heart, the cortisol rush, are literally the exact same sensations as excitement. The only thing that separates them is the story your brain is telling itself. Think about it. In both states, your body is amped up, it's ready for action. When it's fear, your brain's story is, "Oh no, this is a threat, run." But when it's excitement, the story is, "Whoa, this is an opportunity, let's go." This is huge because it means we have a choice. We can learn to relabel that energy. So how do you actually do that in the moment? It's surprisingly simple. The second you feel that anxiety starting to bubble up, I want you to count backwards from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It seems silly, but what it does is interrupt that automatic panic loop in your brain and engages the part that makes decisions. It puts you back in the driver's seat. Then, pick an anchor thought, something positive about what's happening. So if you're nervous about a presentation, your anchor thought could be, sharing this idea I'm passionate about. And then you literally say it out loud or to yourself, I am excited to share this idea. You are actively giving your brain a new, better story for why your body feels all revved up. Okay, another major source of our anxiety comes from what the psychoanalyst Karen Horney called the tyranny of the shoulds. This is that massive, crushing gap between who we feel we are right now and this ideal self that we think we should be. And that constant pressure to close the gap, that's a recipe for anxiety. Do any of these sound familiar? I should be more productive. I should have it all figured out by now. I should be able to handle all of this by myself. Yeah, these shoulds set us up with these totally impossible standards. And every single time we don't meet them, we feel like we're failing, which just piles on more anxiety. So how do you fight back against those shoulds? You build self-compassion. And here's a really powerful exercise from Jesse Raffe. At the end of each day, instead of asking what you're grateful for, which can sometimes be about things outside of you, ask this. What are 3 things I did today that I feel good about? It can be tiny, like you made your bed or you didn't snap at a coworker. This is so powerful because it shifts your source of validation from out there in the world to in here, to your own actions. You start building your own foundation of strength. Okay, so reframing our thoughts is huge. But let's be real. Sometimes our mind is racing too fast to even catch a thought. In those moments of high anxiety, of full-on panic, we need tools that work directly with our body to hit the emergency brake. All right, this one is amazing. Neuroscientist Dr. Andrew Huberman says this is the fastest known way to reduce stress in real time. It's called the physiological sigh. Here's how it works. You take a deep breath in through your nose, and then at the very top, you sneak in one more little sip of air. Then you let it all out with a long, slow exhale through your mouth. That little double inhale actually reinflates the tiny air sacs in your lungs that collapse when you're stressed. And the long exhale dumps a bunch of carbon dioxide, which sends an immediate all-clear signal to your brain. Seriously, do this just 2 or 3 times and you will feel your body calm down. It's like a biological reset button.
Here's another incredibly simple but powerful one: box breathing. The best part? You can do it anywhere, anytime, and nobody even has to know. You just breathe in for a count of 4, hold it for 4, breathe out for 4, and hold again for 4. That's it. This simple rhythm hacks your nervous system, activating the part that's responsible for rest and relaxation. It's a totally discreet way to get back in control when you feel that anxiety creeping up.
Have you ever had that super weird feeling like you're not really in your own body? Maybe like you're watching a movie of your life, or the world just seems kind of fuzzy and not real? It's a really scary feeling called depersonalization, and it's a common symptom of high anxiety. When that happens, you need to pull your brain right back into the present moment. And one of the best ways to do that is with the 5-4-3-2-1 technique. It basically forces your brain to get out of its head and back into your body by engaging your senses. You just, wherever you are, name 5 things you can see around you, then 4 things you can physically touch, then 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and finally 1 thing you can taste. This technique is a lifesaver because it yanks your focus away from that internal chaos and anchors it to the real physical world. Okay, so we've got our in-the-moment tools for our mind and our body, but now let's zoom out a bit. Because anxiety isn't just about what happens during a panic attack. It's often quietly fueled by our daily habits, sometimes in ways we don't even notice. So to really pull the rug out from under anxiety, we have to look at these patterns. Dr. Scott Ehlers, who has dealt with major anxiety himself, pinpointed 6 key habits that are basically anxiety's best friends. For example, when you avoid things that scare you, you're actually teaching your brain that the fear is justified, which just shrinks your world. Overloading on caffeine, that supercharges an already anxious brain. And maybe surprisingly, doing nothing, just having too much empty time, can be a playground for a catastrophic mind. We're also going to see how skipping meals, trying to be a superhero and do everything yourself, and not trusting that your future self can handle things, all create the perfect environment for anxiety to thrive. Let's just double-click on 2 of these because the connection is so direct and so physical. First, stimulants like caffeine. They don't create new thoughts. They just put a megaphone to whatever your brain is already doing. So if your brain's default setting is to worry, that morning coffee is like pouring gasoline on the fire. And skipping meals? Look, your brain needs fuel. When your blood sugar crashes, the physical symptoms, getting shaky, your heart racing, feeling dizzy, are identical to a panic attack. You might not be having a panic attack at all. You might just be hungry. Phew, we have covered a ton of ground. Tools for your mind, hacks for your body, and a new look at your daily life. So let's bring this all together and talk about what your path forward looks like. I absolutely love this quote from Sadhguru because it captures the whole point perfectly. Your anxious mind, it's a sharp tool. That's actually a good thing. The problem isn't the knife, it's that your hand feels unsteady holding it. So the goal is not to get rid of your sharp mind to blunt the knife. The goal is to build the internal stability, to develop that steady hand so you can use that powerful mind for good without it accidentally cutting you. And this is maybe the single most important thing to remember. Everything we've talked about today, these are tools to help you build that steady hand. They are not cures. If your anxiety is overwhelming, if it's getting in the way of your life, reaching out to a therapist or a doctor is a sign of incredible strength, not weakness. It's not giving up, it's calling in the experts to help you build the best toolkit possible. So, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a question to think about. Out of everything we covered, the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding, the physiological sigh, reframing fear into excitement, what is one small thing, just one, that you can do the next time anxiety shows up? Just pick one, because having a plan, even a tiny one, is half the battle. Thanks so much for being here.